Let's talk about fat. Fat is often underestimated in its importance. Fat sometimes gets a bad rap, but fat is actually very crucial in a lot of functions of our body, especially in a lot of hormone balance and the maintenance of so many functions within us. Fat matters. Okay, fat is not just something that we store on our bodies to keep us warm. Fat actually has purpose in our bodies. It also plays a role in helping us keep that feeling of feeling satisfied. It helps manage a lot of our hunger as well, similar to protein in that way. And when we either eat too much or too little fat, that can really affect how we feel after we eat. Okay, so what is fat? Fat is not just the fat that we trim off of our meat. Okay, fat includes any kind of nut and seed. Now, nuts and seeds are tricky because they do contribute some amount of protein. Okay, people are like, "What? Peanut butter is protein?" Well, actually, if you look at the label, its largest contributing factor is fat. So when we're looking to put proper portion of fat into our diet, we have to look at what is its biggest contributor. And for nuts and seeds, it is fat. And this really influences then how we portion it. Because if I assume that nuts are protein, then I would eat a whole palm size of nuts, which many people do. How often do you hear people say, "Oh, I had like a handful of nuts"? Well, I can tell you right now, we think we're going to a really healthy snack choice, which is great. However, we have way overportioned it. The proper serving size for fat is the size of our thumb, roughly 1 tablespoon. That's like 8 almonds. Okay, I'm going to tell you, it's like the can't eat just one chip thing. Okay, can you eat just 8 almonds? All right, this is tricky. This is also a game changer in people's nutrition because when they start to understand that fat needs to be portioned to the size of their thumb, that drastically influences how much fat they intake through the day, which can significantly influence our body weight and how we feel also. Okay, so fat, nuts, seeds, avocado. Yes, avocado is green. It is not a vegetable. It is a fat. Okay, avocado is often seriously overportioned because you don't want it to go brown. So what do? You eat half of it or you eat all of it. But you should only be taking 1 to 2 servings of it, which would be about 1 to 2 tablespoons or 1 to 2 small slices. But I thought I was making such a good choice by putting that whole avocado on my salad. I appreciate the sentiment. However, instead of 1 to 2 servings of fat, you have now probably put 8 to 10 servings of fat on that salad by having half to full avocado. Okay, so again, portion control matters. Okay, so in our fat, we have nuts, we have seeds, we have avocados, we have things like cheese. Okay, some forms of dairy fall in here, but mainly cheese. But then we think of things like oils and butter. Okay, so we have oils. I'm just going to look at my list here. Oils, we have cheese, we have nuts and seeds, coconut, any kind of nut butter. Okay, and then we come back to our philosophy around there are types of fats that we want to eat more of. There are ones that we want to eat sometimes, and then there are other types that we want to eat less often. Bacon falls into that less often category. Okay, bacon is a meat. Yes, it is a source of protein, but it has such a high fat content. The fat and the protein contribution from bacon is so high. It's you just got to eat less often because it has so much fat and protein to it. Okay. Yes, we can benefit from the protein from it. Yes, we can benefit from the fat. But if we're eating bacon multiple times a week, that higher fat contribution adds up over time. Okay. We start to look at the types of oils here, and we can really get in the weeds here because we start to talk about saturated versus unsaturated fats. What you need to know now is the more hard a fat is at room temperature, the less often you want to eat it. Okay, so things like butter that are very hard at room temperature, lard, some oils that are a little bit more cloudy, things like coconut oil, we actually want to eat those in moderation, okay, because they carry a very high level of saturated fat, which generally is a little bit harder on our insides, okay? It's not to say that we can't have it sometimes, but maybe not every single day as our main source of fat, okay? Again, if you're working with me, you're going to get a full chart that shows all of those listed out in a great visual, okay? So fats, again, we're looking toward about the size of our thumb, okay? We want to work between 1 to 2 servings per meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, okay? Fats sometimes get applied during cooking process, which sometimes is hard to measure, but it's a good practice. Again, when I work with my clients, we start to look at how much fat are we using in our cooking process. Could we pull that back? Do we need to pull that back? And then what types of fats are we putting into our regular eating, okay? So fats are important. They should not be cut out. However, they are needing to be managed in moderation. That's why diets like the keto diet, they get a lot of praise because that is a higher fat diet. But causing your body to go into a state of ketosis because we have so much fat coming in does actually make our organs work a little bit harder than they probably should be. So that works for some people, especially with certain health restrictions, that works for them. But it is not recommended for everybody. Okay, so fats about the size of your thumb. That works for kids too. Okay, if you have questions, comment and I will respond. Looking forward to next time, guys.